This show is sponsored by PowerfulWomenUSA.com. Hey everybody, I'm Jill Conway, and this is Secrets of Powerful Women, a show dedicated to celebrating and supporting strong and successful women and sharing their stories. So I'm hoping you will be inspired and feel empowered and reclaim your voice and discover your strengths. So I am thrilled to introduce my guest today. Her name is Sandra Scanni, and Sandra, she is the Chief Commercial Officer for Clean Boss, which is a Long Island-based company started by inventor Joy Mangano and singer Pitbull. She is also a financial guru, a trailblazer. She has broken barriers and continues to pave the way so that other women may rise. So thank you for being here and welcome to the show, Sandra.
Thank you, Jill. It's so nice to be here. And I just want to say thank you for acknowledging me. I mean, you could have chosen so many amazing women. And so thank you for having me here.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. So tell us first, we'll start with the how you're a financial person, but I want to talk quick about tell me what you're doing right now. What's your job? You work for Clean Boss. So even tell us what that is for people who don't know.
Okay, well, I'll start with, I'm a mother of four, so my family has always been my North Star. My children are amazing. They're all launched now, so they're not little. They're all grown, out of college, and have amazing careers and very independent. So I'm super proud of that. So once again, they are my North Star, and they're the reason why I am so inspired every day to have the amount of energy I do to do the things I do.
And you do a lot of things. You wear many hats, and you do them all incredibly well. So amazing. She is an incredible woman. So how did it all begin for you?
So, and that's a great question because it began, boy, did it begin. So many years ago, I want to say over 20 years ago, I was on Wall Street. I actually started as an intern at Shearson Lehman Hutton many years ago. And I found that this was really interesting. I wanted to be on Wall Street, and I wanted to, have that experience downtown Wall Street. And
sure.
So I started over 20 years ago, and it was quite a career. I was young, I wasn't married, and eventually I knew I wanted to start a family. So I wound up just putting my career on hiatus after 10 years on Wall Street and starting my amazing family. And during that time, I always was antsy to keep building.
Because you're in your prime, right?
I wanted to keep building while I was raising my children, while I wanted to be there for them, but still be creative. So I decided, because I do have a ton of energy, to start my own gym. So that was, a creative idea that happened sometime at 2 a.m, maybe. So I wound up opening up a really nice gym in our community and bringing
St. James,
Long Island, yes. And bringing so many amazing women into my life during that time that I'm saying it now because it's so pivotal. They're still part of my life. We raised our children together, and there's just so many ties to all of these women now in what I'm doing in my current careers. So park that. It was an amazing time because I was able to show, especially I have 2 boys, 2 girls, show my daughters that we can do this. I can be a mom. I can be a career woman. I can take care of the house. I can take care of myself, and I can take care of my physique, which is super important to me.
But it's very hard to do that. We often talk about work-life balance. I feel like everyone brings it up, and it's not easy to do all that, though. I mean, you do have a lot of energy, right? But it's a tough juggle for everybody. Was it a tough juggle for you?
Yeah, and that's a great point, Jill, because for all the women listening out there, it's not easy. Sometimes I feel like the people that know me really well think it
looks easy.
Right, it looks easy. And you know what? It's not, right? We all have our struggles. Sometimes I like to leave them behind closed doors, and we have to take care of the kids and run around, and the house isn't the way you want. But the second I open the door and walk out, I don't want them to see me sweat. That's one thing that I do. Yeah. I never did a lot of, I don't really watch a lot of TV. I've always had extra time on my hands because I eliminate those things in my life. And I feel like that helped me juggle, that I really just was laser focused on what do the kids need to be doing? What do I need to be doing at the gym that I had to open, and keep everything kind of in line and organized. And I didn't have a lot of external anything
distractions.
Right. And I think if you do things that way, you find extra time in the day.
Yeah.
And I always thought it was super important to wear the hat of taking good care of myself as a mom and as an entrepreneur. I put myself sometimes first so I can be better for them. So that's a really,
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I
really
agree with that.
message.
It's like in an airplane where you have to put the mask on yourself before you can help other people.
Yeah.
Right?
No, really, no. That's a great point.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I started, this gym when my kids were little, and my son, who was only in 5th grade at the time, would help me with the cash box, and it was a great time in my life because I was able to create something while I was able to stay home with them at the times that they need. When they got off the bus, I was there, but I owned my own gym. It was fabulous. And then I came to a point when my youngest, who are twins, boy-girl twins, Marco and Gianna.
That's tough too. That's very tough.
Oh, yeah. We did everything together.
Sure.
So when they got into middle school and I felt like they were a little more independent, that I needed and wanted more in my career than just having this gym, which was eventually sold to one of our local community gyms, which I'm still very much a part of and super proud of that. So I had that legacy there, having that gym and then selling it. But now my brain said, okay, I want to do more. I really want to go back to my roots on Wall Street. I wanted that so bad. So I decided to do it and take that leap.
Wow. Now, had you still had the contacts and let me go back to the hiatus, which I think, was it difficult for you to make that decision at that time to say, you know what, I'm gonna pause here? Because that's a high profile job. You're going 150 miles an hour, in Wall Street. So what was that like, coming to that decision? Because I feel like a lot of women get to that pot. I mean, I know I did. So what was that like?
So that's a great point. And I'm going to speak truthful. It was so difficult.
Sure.
I was with a great career. I think at the time it was Melrose Place and Heather Locklear.
I loved her. Abby.
Yeah,
right?
the glitz and glam. And, I was in the thick of it. And
it's hard to give up.
Yes. And then you never know at that time if you're going to go back. And there's designations, there's test taking, there's relationships.
Sure.
And being at the top of where I was at that particular time, you're going to give all that up, and the unknown, am I going back in a year? Am I not going back in? So to your point, it was a very difficult decision.
Yeah.
And, it was made collectively, right? Even by my physician. Right. When you're starting to raise a family, right, they have concerns about, you want the well-being of you as an individual, and, you want to make this decision together. It was a decision I made at home, and it wasn't easy because I didn't want to pull away.
Right.
And I had then decided to say to myself, okay, I'm going to do this, and with the unknown, I don't know if I'm going to go back in a year or if I'm going to go back in 2 years or 3 years. So it was really difficult.
Yeah.
It was. And I didn't go back until my children reached middle school, my youngest.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, but that's all right. So you were on Wall Street, and you, I know we previously spoke. I mean, you were one of the only females in the firm.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of operations and back office, but this was
Wow.
This was like you see in some of the movies. It was like a lot of what you see on Wall Street, where you're in this big boardroom. Yeah, and it absolutely was a boys' club, and you had to fit in. But you had, again, the way I treated my family, it was putting your head down and just organizing yourself and just staying true to who you were, and just getting in, getting out, learning quick, and
How were you able to survive in that industry, and in that being one of the few women there? I mean, what's the mindset? Like you said, you have to put your head down and go, but I mean, it's almost like people are, aiming arrows at you.
I still have all on my back. They're all, and it's funny because now that, I'm going a second time around, it's still a little bit out
scary.
There. Yeah. So it was being very organized in your process, and like I said, I would work out in the morning, and I would not just have my head down, but I knew what I needed to do at work. And not everybody there was an outlaw. There were some very good people who I aligned myself with, who were gentlemen to the core. Right. And I always was in that little group. I always gravitated towards that. And, as a woman, I also felt at that time, because I was, young, I was in my early 20s, that, I didn't really do a lot of socializing outside of the boardroom, because there was a lot of that at that time, maybe even more then than there is now, where, once you leave, there's a due diligence meeting. Why is there a due diligence meeting in the middle of Wall Street when I was working in the Garden City office, via limo? So those things you have to pick and choose and say, you know what, I don't think I'm going to attend that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to work out and, try and create this family that I knew I was, wanted to buy a house and just have my head down.
Yeah.
After hours, there's always going to be a party. There's always going to be a meet for a drink and a cocktail. And I cut that out also. I was never part of that. Mm-hmm. And when you walk in the next day, you just sit back down and you go and do the same thing. And I just think there's something to be said about staying in your lane in the highway if you really don't want, in that environment to put yourself in a bad spot.
Yeah.
Stay in a good spot. Stay with good people. And when I say there was a lot of good people, there really was. And you asked me a question before, do I have any of those relationships? So many years later, I do.
Wow.
And there were some incredible people doing incredible things then. And when I stepped out on my hiatus, they went and did even more incredible things that I was able to read about I read about in the newspaper, Wall Street Journal, and see it. And these companies are still around and they did amazing things. Wow. So I was glad to be part of that side of growing in that business.
Did you go to school for that? What did you go to school for?
I did. I always was gravitating toward financial, and I did go to Long Island, CW Post, Long Island University. Great. I had a wonderful time there, great education, and that was my major, finance and business.
So that's my son's major too. Yeah, that's exactly, you live the life that he wants, and I feel like so many people want, but it's not easy. It's not easy. But now you're back in it, and
I'm sick of it.
What's that like? I mean, you have a couple of things going on right now. So, how is that? How do you juggle it all? So even when the kids are older, right? They're older now.
Yep.
They still need you.
Oh yeah, they're there now. On top of it, we have 2 dogs. Everybody needs me, and so I think it's great for other women to hear that you can do. There is a way to do this, right? So I do have a really busy career. I have a lot of clients who need me and want me on a daily basis, and I have my kids, and I have a household, and I have a husband. I have all these things going on all at the same time, and I want to say juggling this without a lot of external. And I think if you get caught up in that, I don't care. I'm not saying not to watch TV,
right,
but I don't get caught up in a lot of external things that I do not need during the day. And I am big on that. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's something that's going on in my neighborhood or something that's going on it's a big political talk. If there's something going on that it's not, I don't need it. I just don't, I exit out.
Engage.
I do not engage.
Yeah.
And, I do believe that's why I have more time. I make time. I go to bed early, probably earlier than most. I wake up, I think, earlier than most. If I can, I know not everybody can have that type of schedule, but I do that, and I make time for myself. I'm methodical about it. I'm methodical about how I treat myself the night before, so the next day, it's okay to wake up at 5:30 and be out running by 6 o'clock, and do all the right things for myself so I can be ready by 8:30 for what my day is going to bring.
Right. Because you've already given yourself that time to kind of recharge and...
Oh yeah. I get a good night's sleep, and I prepare. I still cook for my kids. They know that there's food today while I'm here and I'm working. So I did all that last night, knowing this was going to happen. So it's this planning ahead. It makes you very, very successful. That's huge to put out there. It's planning.
Well, you're a great mom too, obviously. My kids are probably listening like, wait, Mom, where's our meal? Where's our meal? So, all right. So you that's not the only thing you do, right? We say you, and what I love and we're going to talk about is that you don't have to just do, I know you say you focus on one thing, but you have your, a plate in so many different industries. So tell us about, I mentioned the Clean Boss. So tell us about your job and what that company is.
Yeah, so and that's great, and I'll kind of tie everything together in a bow for you. So and it's such a privilege to be able, that's the other thing, to be able to do multiple things.
Because women are told they can't.
They can't. You can't be doing one thing, right? We could be moms, we could be wives, we could prepare, we can do all these things, and we can have great careers, we can be inventors, we can be entrepreneurs. We can do anything we want to do, and they need to do it. If you have something tucked in your mind that you said, oh, I don't know if I could do it because I have this job, you can do it. You just have to put your head down, set aside a plan, get rid of external things that do not serve you, and start. Nothing should stop you. So just to go backwards to what you were asking me. So I received a phone call one day. We talked about this great community of women and friends, and I have a ton of them, and they've all been amazing. If I don't talk to them for 10 years, and our kids were, in second grade, and now they're, I can't even believe how tall and big they are, married, and some of them having children. One of my good friends, Dr. Ravitz, had called me, and she said, I'm looking at buying this company, and it is on HSN, the Home Shopping Network. I am a podiatrist, and she is a podiatrist, one of the first, I would say, women at the community hospital where we live. She was the first woman surgeon. She's amazing.
Wow.
But we have been fast friends for so many years. We raised our children together. We don't talk all the time because we're both so busy. Right.
Sure.
Right. So she said, I need to get behind the numbers of this company. Is it what they're saying? And she actually created the orthotic for this particular shoe company, which was interesting.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Back in the mid 2000s.
What's the company? Can you mention the company?
So the company, it's called Soul. That's our brand, but it was Cheeks Footwear, and we own the company.
Sure.
Yeah, we own Marjorie and I now own that company.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow, yeah.
Because I looked at the numbers, and I told her what the numbers are, and they weren't the numbers that they wanted her to purchase it for. But she, as friends, she respected me being able to look at these, the financials and really give my opinion, from an outsider.
Sure.
And I gave her my opinion. It, wasn't what she thought, which was good. She needed a little protection from that because her specialty is orthotics and doing
What does
surgery.
she know about
exactly.
running a company? Yeah.
So she said, I trust you and love you as a friend. You're my first phone call. And that was the truth. She said, You're my first phone call. So I said, oh, Marjorie, this is a privilege. But when I looked inside, the financials, I said, this is really what it's worth. And of course, the owner went back and forth, was not happy at all. And fast forward, they made us an offer we couldn't refuse, which was not a lot, which was great. So we own that. Now we own this company. And now I'm a financial advisor. And now I have my kids, dogs. I have the whole thing going on, and I said, oh my goodness, what did I do? Yeah. And once we signed on the dotted line, which was very, very exciting to own a shoe company, I called her up and said, now what?
Right, sure.
And,
what's the next step, right?
Exactly. And and she said, I don't know, you tell me, So so I said, I think the next step is knocking on Joy Mangano's door.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And
who lives in the area, kind of, right?
She does, and she's an entrepreneur, and the movie Joy, I'm sure everyone has seen, super amazing woman who I jog a lot, and I live in the community. I would jog by her house with all of my children. I kind of point it out and say, that woman is amazing. She's an amazing entrepreneur. She's done it all, and she raises her children. She's done everything that I wanted to do, and I think a lot of women know her story and think they had their joy. Mm-hmm. So
because she started at such a small place, right?
Yes,
something like that. Like
with a mop. With a miracle mop, with an idea, really.
Right.
And no voice, and like all of us, no money, all these things had to start from somewhere.
And she built it up.
She built it up to be incredible, and she's philanthropic. She's all of these incredible things built into one.
All right, so you're knocking on her door.
Knocking on her door, Marjorie. Well, I want to back up. When Marjorie was like, "Okay, well, that we're not doing," and I said, we are doing. No, because in a joking way, she's like, "We can't do that." So I did do that, and I didn't literally knock on her door, but I first called and then left a message with no return, and then I contacted customer support with no return, and then I decided to go to HomeSense and buy one of these magical, amazing cards that they have that would pop out or, do something fancy. And I wrote this letter to her saying, we're just two women entrepreneurs and businesswomen here in St. James, and we have successful careers. We don't have an agenda,
right?
And we would love your advice. And we did mention that it's Cheeks, and she knew who it was because she knows Cheeks for 30 years.
Yeah.
And I literally got a phone call, I want to say 2 days later, which from her daughter Christy, and Marjorie was like, I just can't believe that. And her daughter said, and her daughter's amazing. She helps her mother run the company. She is the face also on HSN. And she said, your ears must have been ringing. You must have an angel on your shoulder, that this is serendipitous, because we were just talking 2 days ago about when we're launching our shoe line and who we're going to use.
Wow.
And that's kind of like the fast forward version, but we got together, and I didn't tell Joy I'm a financial person. I didn't say anything except that we manufacture shoes.
Sure.
So we wound up, and Marjorie and I learned how to manufacture shoes. We learned how to get on the phone with China at off hours. We learned how to find the right leather and the tariffs and everything that it costs to, bring this product across the sea and have a landed cost or, an FBO cost. We learned all of these things, and we made magic last January on Joy's show. She launched off after very careful detail because she has her hands in everything. She launched this shoe called the Joy shoe, but Marjorie and I created. Marjorie created the insole, and I helped with the outsole, and Christy helped with the design. And of course, Joy puts her magic stamp on every single detail, down to the perfect sparkly shoelaces that went with every sneaker. And we sold over 100,000 pair in hours.
Oh my goodness!
On this night in January.
Wow! All because you knocked on a door. We're gonna get into more of Sandra's story in just a little bit. She is an entrepreneur, financial powerhouse, and a true example of a strong and powerful woman. That's after the commercial break. You are listening to Secrets of Powerful Women. Join our community. Head to powerfulwomenusa.com for more information, and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Apple, and Amazon Music, Spotify, YouTube. Wherever you go, you can find us, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to Secrets of Powerful Women. Sandra Scanni is here, and she is a very successful entrepreneur and now CCO of Clean Boss. So, Sandra, talk to us about Clean Boss. And you mentioned you knocked on Joy Mangano's door, and this is how this relationship started. But it was for a shoe company. You started your own shoe company. But so get back to, you're knocking on the door. You tried all these things. Then eventually you got a phone call from her daughter or something like that, right? So, and you're in business with her. What was Joy's reaction? Was she like, who is this stalker knocking on my door and sending me? What was the reaction from her saying, I love her persistence, or what was it?
Yeah, so it's funny you say that, because when we joke, we do joke a little bit about, how many times did I have to persist? And is that a stalker? We laugh about it. But she was very impressed she said, if you can knock on my door and you could do all of these things, I need to listen, because that's what I did. That's what I did to have a voice. So she was great with it. She said, I think you have something to say. If you have that nerve, right, to call me and then to put a stamp and write me a letter, and you're that persistent, there's something here. And also because she did say, was it serendipitous that she wanted to start a shoe line? Wow. And so now you did all that, and now talk to us about Clean Boss. How did that come about? And that's kind of a fairly new company, right? Or how many years? Yeah, so Clean Boss is a fairly new company on the cleaning side. Mm-hmm. So she has created this biobotanical EPA amazing product. It's a thymol-based product that you can actually spray in your mouth. We wouldn't, but it's as powerful as like bleach and Lysol, but it's thymol, it's plant-based. Wow. So it's so safe, and it is now in healthcare and hospitals. It passed infectious control patrol, right? Infectious control patrol. It's incredible. It's in stadiums now. I mean, it is growing like wildfire. But after we launched the shoes, and we did so many other commodities together, she asked me, what do you really do? Like, what do you do? Right. And it was such an amazing question, because I said, well, I manufacture shoes. And she said, no, there's more to you than that. And it was a little exploratory, very relaxed conversation in her house. And, both Marge and I were working super hard at the shoe line. And I told her I'm a financial advisor by trade, and I have been, for so many years. And she said, that's amazing. That is magical, and she loved and she wanted to hear more about it. I told her about my background. I told her where I was at Barnum Financial and my passion for helping people and women understand, the financial world. Mm-hmm. And she loved it. And she just took that, and she introduced me at that point to her son, who is the president of the company. And he's more on the side of the Clean Boss, and he's more on the side of, a lot of the legal stuff. He's an attorney. Okay. And him and I met quite a few times, and, we aligned with my purpose and maybe my value add. And he said one day, we want you to be our chief commercial officer. Wow. It was incredible. It was actually an incredible moment in time.
And what did you think? What was your thoughts at that point? Were you shocked, or were you just?
I was, because I have a full-time career,
Yeah.
and I also have Marjorie as a partner, and I have a shoe business, and I have still the same, I have all these things. And I like to make time to work out, How am I going to fit this into my career? Although it was an honor and a privilege, I did feel that way.
Sure.
So I, like everything else, even though I feel like I'm energetic and I move fast, I slow down to speed up to make sure that this would fit in the right way. I checked in with my family. Of course, I had to check in with, my financial world, because we always have to follow, protocol with compliance and doing multiple things and disclosing things. And because my company is great, I received a blessing from them, because they know I'm a hard worker. One won't fall to the wayside.
Yeah.
So once I took my time to decide that this is what I was going to do, we also have legal counsel. Marjorie and I did a lot to get here.
Right.
We wanted to make sure that we're doing all the right things for both, the Clean Boss company. I had to be fair to them, and also my financial world, and then my family and myself.
Oh,
So
that's the biggest one.
It's the biggest one.
It's the most important one. Yeah.
So it was right. And once I rang the bell in my own mind, and I gave myself the blessing, it probably was one of the most amazing things, besides my children, right? We have to always put that aside.
Right. Yeah, always put that aside, yeah.
It was the most incredible thing that I've ever done. And it continues to be the most incredible, incredible time in my life.
Oh, my goodness. I like what you said, how you had to give yourself permission.
Yeah.
Why? Talk about that, because I feel like women need to give themselves permission to succeed.
Yeah.
Because we always talk about failing. Everyone's afraid to fail. But it doesn't seem like you're afraid to fail.
And because I failed. So I'm not afraid.
Right.
And I love Denzel Washington, and I often listen to positive podcasts all the time in my ear as I run my millions of miles a day. And he once said, you need something, people say, you get something to fall back on. You never know. Let's go to college for this, but you maybe have this to fall back on in case. People, do not fall backward. Fall forward. And I love that he said that, and it resonated with me, because I'm not afraid to fall forward.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's because I've had many, right? We all have failures, but recognizing them as successes and not failures is the key.
Because it taught you something? Because you learned
If you don't learn from it, well, then it's not a success.
Right.
Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes it takes reevaluating how you got there. But once you know, this is how I did it, and this is how I want to do it different this time, then it's a huge success. And I think, Jill, the reason I'm so happy when I wake up every day and I'm doing all of these different things, and enjoying it so much, is because I've had those past mistakes, and I will not make them again.
Right.
My time is my time. That's really important to me. So even with both schedules, it still doesn't interfere with the time that I need for my mental health, for my physical self, for my diet, my nutrition. This doesn't interfere. So
what's the biggest lesson that you've learned throughout it all? Like, what was the big aha for you in it all? Like, was the big failure where you're like, wow, I learned so much from that?
Yeah, I think, and that's such a great question, because there's so much self-reflection.
Yeah. Which not everybody does, Sandra. And I think that's the key so much to success, where you see where you succeeded and where you failed and how to do better.
Yeah. I think in the corporate world, you see yourself, or I saw myself, as a powerful woman, but, and this is just, I'm really putting it out there for you, I was put in a corner a lot of the times, to even as successful as I was, to not be that successful and have a louder voice, because I have capabilities of doing things and multitasking and getting further in my career than, let's say, the person next to me. And it was corporate. I was in corporate. And I think when I left that corporate atmosphere, even though the company I work for now is very corporate, they're nothing like that. They are forward thinker, amazing. It's an amazing company I work for, by the way, on the financial side. But prior to that, I was in an old school atmosphere. And when I left that, I did feel failure at that time, because I said, what could I have done different, and stood up to what was going on. And I do that now, right?
Well, you learned, right? And you come into your own voice, really, right?
It's the loudest voice. It's my voice. And it feels okay for me. So, and I'm vocal about it also. And I like to communicate. There are these conversations that people are afraid to have if they're not feeling a certain way in their career. And they don't want to have it because they're afraid that maybe they're going to get dismissed, or maybe they're going to get put at the bottom of the totem pole, or they won't get a raise. You need to socialize. If you're in a position where you feel like you need to get to a better place in that position, you need to socialize that, and you need to believe in yourself.
Yeah. Would you say that's the most important thing?
Yes. You believe in yourself that you can do it.
I feel like when you say you run 9 to 10 miles a day, which is, God bless you, and I would love to be like that, but maybe you can teach me. You can guide me.
You're coming with it.
That's almost like, I would think, like almost a meditation as you go, right? I mean, you have to get it. You have to be in a certain place in your head, and then you have to just almost lose yourself in the motion, right?
Yep. That's exactly why I go. And people that know me, including my family, and my good friends who know I run, some of them beep, they see everybody every morning, that I go into that place of meditation and that place of peace. And I truly, Jill, have come up with a lot of the things that I'm talking to you about during that quiet time.
Yep.
So if you, like we didn't even talk about scaling a business, but if you're talking about what I'm talking about and you're scaling it to what you're capable of, if it doesn't have to be a 14-mile run with all of Sandra's energy, it could be a walk. I feel like you need to get one with nature. I do. And I follow Tracy Anderson a lot. I work with her practice. And she says the same thing. You need to be, whether it's walking, if it's biking, we go and go and go. And I go all day. But I do find my time to be by myself, and everything is quiet. And I come up with amazing, amazing ideas. And when I finally reach the other end, which is 25A, everything all of a sudden comes to a head, and I make my phone calls and put all of those ideas out there. But I've been doing it I did it with my children. Or in a stroller. I pushed all 4 up those hills.
Oh, God bless you.
And now I do it by myself, but I always found that time for myself. And
it's almost spiritual.
Important.
For you, right?
It really is.
Are you a spiritual person, or have you gotten more so through the years, would you say?
I always have been. I have, I say my North Star are my children, but I have my other angels in my life, and that guide me. People in business, right? You have to be careful where you're going to lie. I have my faith, but I say it's guided or serendipitous, but it's none of those things. It's faith, and it's what I have in my heart and what I feel. And I think I feel things maybe stronger than the next if I'm in my own quiet place.
Well, that's when I feel like when you can feel it, right? Because some people don't like quiet. They don't like the silence. And I love silence. Sometimes I don't even know if the radio wasn't playing or the TV wasn't on. I'm just kind of like, that's how I prefer, just to let all my thoughts out and run with them, right? So what advice would you give to maybe the woman listening or the men listening and who have an idea and are afraid to start?
Well, I'll tell you first that you have to get rid of that, because we have this one life to lead, and impossible is nothing. Like, miracles happen. You have to, I think, believe in yourself that you can do it. And if you really don't believe in yourself, keep working at it. Like, it's a practice. I don't believe in myself and I can't do it. You have to say to yourself, I can do it. Even if you don't believe it, you can do it. Then you have to think of yourself as a good leader, where you can take control over what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Be an expert at your craft. So I say, be credible. And when I say that, you have to know exactly what your skill set is. So if you're going to go somewhere to do something, whether it's creating something or you want to get intellectual property on something, you want to get a patent on something, be credible. Know exactly what you're doing. Know your product. Know a lot about what you're talking about. And then people will trust you. It's that speed to trust conversation.
Ooh, that's good. What else? What else you got there? I see a little note card
so
there.
Then it's
good advice.
Good advice. So being reliable. And I can definitely put that feather in my cap. If I say I'm going to do something, you don't have to ask twice. I'm going to do it. I'm very reliable. And that goes with my clients. That goes with both of my practices. That goes with my children. That goes with it goes with everything. If you ask me to do something, you can count on me doing it. And also have low self-orientation. And what I mean by that, people in general want to know that you care, right? They don't care how much you know. They want to know how much you care. can't be about you. So take all of those qualities together, kind of mash them up in a little ball, remember that, and then go for whatever it is that you want to go for. Are you going for a position within your company? Are you going out and maybe leaving your company and starting your own business and being an entrepreneur and being a perfectionist at it? Whatever it is that you want to do, you have to believe in yourself to do it, but you have to be educated enough and put the time in to create all of those things. You have to work hard.
Right. You know, what you just said reminds me, I mean, I'll paraphrase the Maya Angelou poem that says, you know, people won't forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel, right? And that's the connection.
That is the connection.
You know? Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. So what's the next few years look like for you?
So the next few years, I said, I use the
Who
term,
knows?
who knows? I say to Joy, and she laughs, and I say to everybody at Clean Boss, I made a joke, and it became contagious, that every day is Friday here at Clean Boss.
That's wonderful.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
So, you know, there's so many creative things going on. I mean, I know some of these things were under an NDA and we can't say, but some of the most magical things that I couldn't even dream about are happening currently with Clean Boss, with Pitbull,
That's awesome.
I mean, come on.
Really? How did that come about, that whole partnership?
Yeah, so that's an incredible story. So thank you for asking, because people always want to hear about it. And he is so amazing and so philanthropic.
Yeah.
So his mother was a cleaning woman.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, single mom, trying to make it work. And she would go and find cleaning products from anywhere. People would throw them away, and she would grab this or grab that. And he really respected his mom, but at the time I was made to understand that, you know, that would maybe have been embarrassing for him to have his mom as a cleaning person. And again, she was a single mom, and it wasn't an easy life for him and his siblings. So now that he has made it to be a voice, right? He is an influencer in his mind, and a philanthropic one at that. He literally called up Joy, and they've known each other from other walks of obviously their life. And he said, I want part of this Clean Boss company.
Wow.
Yeah. And her words were, why? Right? You know, and he told that story, and he wants to pay homage to his amazing mother, and he wants to make change. And his mission statement, which is what we kept within our company, is wake up the world to a new way of cleaning.
Oh, wow.
And it sticks. When we tell people what we're trying to accomplish with Clean Boss, we tell them we're waking up the world to a new way of cleaning. We don't want Lysol and bleach, and for you to have tears in your eyes when you pour bleach, or, you know. So that partnership came to be because he reached out to her.
Wow.
And he's so involved in what we do at Clean Boss.
He seems like such a genuine guy when you see things. I mean, I've never met him, but when you see interviews, like, he just seems like a real genuine, nice guy, you know? That's wonderful that he cares so much. I mean, you guys are not just creating products. I mean, that's saving the world. That's, you know, the future of our children, and what we're putting into the soil and the earth and the sky and the air, you know? You're
100% right. What goes into the overflow. I mean, there's so much of a story to tell, which is why we are, I mean, every day is a Friday at Clean Boss, but you'll find me, you know, in the city one day, and all the way out east another day, and in Washington, D.C., like the next morning. People are like a magnet to this wake up the world to a new way of cleaning, and they are really, really big deals that are coming our way because of this, you know, whole campaign with Pitbull and all. But moreover, the products, they're EPA certified. They're all of this magic that people are just loving. People want plant-based things. People are really trying to protect the lives of their children and grandchildren, and the voice is getting louder for that as well. Wow. So there are some amazing things happening. I mean, we are just, you know, growing in leaps and bounds on, you know, the product side. Yeah. So that's what's coming my way with Clean Boss. There'll be more to come, and you'll see, because a lot of it is going to be announced. And as far as my financial side, that's also amazing and exploratory, with having more women become involved. That's kind of like my goal for this year, is to have women become more involved in their financial retirement needs. So a lot of exciting things happening. Yeah. Let's do your contact information for women who are kind of struggling or looking for that, you know, that person to go to. You can connect with Sandra Scanni on LinkedIn, and here's some, you want to give the numbers, or you want me to? Her direct number is 646-381-9718 and 212-631-2069. You can contact her and work with her, you know, to get financial advice, which
God, that's in a whole nother show because it's such a topic that women don't know a lot about finances, right?
Yeah.
Because they're not in charge of them. They give them off. They don't understand them. So I think that in itself could be a whole nother show. I wanted to ask you, because you and I briefly spoke about it, about in the course of your careers and your life, you didn't always stumble across all the most supportive women, right, or men. And so, what do you say when a woman is listening and says, "I have a great idea, but gosh," and then all the naysayers come out, right, and she hears the doubt in her own head, because we all doubt ourselves, no matter what, at least at first. So, what would you say? Because you've achieved such success. So, what would you say to them?
So I love that you just brought this up. So, and I want to articulate it the best way, because I think we've all had that, right? I hear, oh, now you're selling insurance. Now you're selling your gym.
What is it that you're doing now, Sandra? Right? I get that myself. Yeah. So how do you answer?
I love it because you need to stand up, and even if it affects you, because you can't really say that it doesn't affect you. All of a sudden you're brimming with energy, and oh my goodness, look what I just did. And you're like, you hear them say, oh, what is that? Yeah. You have to put your guard up and almost make an imaginary, a hand up, like a stiff arm. And you really have to practice it. And maybe those people are meaningful people. They could be family. They could be close friends.
They don't realize, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
You need to push that negative energy away. And until you do that, all of these things that are happening, they don't happen that fast because there's all these little clogs in the drain. You need to unclog and align yourself with all positive people. And if someone's not on that train, there's the stop. And you really have to do it. You have to be really in front of it and push people away, and not in a terrible way.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Get the good people on the bus and the wrong people off the bus, right? Yeah. So you've been listening to Secrets of Powerful Women. Head to Powerful Women USA to get on the newsletter, listen to previous shows, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, and YouTube. I just want to give a big thank you to Sandra Scanni for coming on the show. I want you to follow her, buy Clean Balls products, and if you need financial help, contact Sandra. I'm Jill Conway. Thank you so much for listening to the show, Women Empowering Women. I hope you are inspired to pursue your goals, believe in yourself, be courageous. I'm here to remind you that your voice matters and that your story has power, and we are stronger together. Together we are unstoppable. I hope you join us next time. Bye, everybody.